I assume so. It's, do we, I've never done it before, so do we just, that it's approved, or do we get the actual count?
Get the actual count and roll call.
All right. Tracy has that, right? Yeah.
Will you vote again?
Yeah.
You know,
Did you see the pictures of the bears in town?
I got a video of it in my backyard.
The bear
It was
behind
in your
the-
backyard?
It was in your backyard?
Yeah, I'll show you after the meeting.
One of these
Oh wow, that's
Yeah, I had a hard time getting this one out.
And another one, and another one.
usually you push it in it.
Yeah, I
In
know.
town, behind the Dunkin' Donuts.
Thank you.
You need to put up.
There was one on my street
And then
2 or
after
3
Myers
years
ago,
ago that just wandered down.
Okay. Nice.
Looking for garbage cans. Oh my god.
Okay, we're ready.
Share a picnic basket.
I'm assuming it's video and.
Good.
All right, call the order, West Warwick Pension Board meeting to order at 10th of June 2019
Yep.
at 19:44 hours. Okay. Okay, prayer. Dear Lord, give this pension board guidance in making decisions regarding our plan and also any past members that are passed, we'll go with them. Amen. Do pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Albert Heru,
Here.
David Lemoy,
Here.
Helena Tay,
Here.
Ralph Salmonese,
Yeah.
Michelle Lombardi.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Motion to close executive session from Monday, June 10th at 5 p.m. this evening and 6:17 p.m. this evening, and seal the minutes.
And reaffirm the vote.
And reaffirm votes taken.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to close both executive sessions and confirm the votes earlier tonight. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We do the votes now, or, okay. First one was vote for legal counsel. Do we re-vote again? Or just,
Yeah, Tracy can roll call the votes, and you can just say what the vote was for.
Okay. Hold on, I had a lot. Motion to accept Olin and Hensler as legal counsel. So it was a roll call vote. David?
No.
Ralph?
Yeah.
Albert?
yes.
Helene?
Yes.
Michelle?
No.
So
Yeah.
motion will
No.
carry for Olin and Hensler.
The next vote we had was for the opinion on the COLAs.
Yep. Motion to approve pension opinion. Oh, sorry. Motion to approve legal opinion
No.
20,
Pension.
board opinion, 2019-1.
Do we roll call again?
But I think you guys have to do the amended thing. You didn't vote that way in that session.
As amended.
Yeah, as amended.
Oh, okay,
So
as
motion-
amended.
Motion to approve pension board opinion 2019-1 as amended.
Motion made.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve West Warwick Pension Board Opinion 2019-01 as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So that'll be amended and made public, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And
And the last vote
last
was
one,
motion
Board Nyhawk,
to pay half
town managers.
of the bills with the town manager's suggestion.
Can we rephrase that, that we agreed to split two of those Nyhart bills with the
Okay.
town.
That was the
So,
manager's suggestion.
Right, per the manager's suggestion,
Mhm.
town manager's suggestion. So, that's the motion.
Second.
They're on.
We can't hear you, but not them.
Oh,
Al, we can't hear you at all.
Okay.
You can pull the whole thing closer. It has a, right here. There you go.
Now we got two mics there, jeez.
they hear a motion to accept,
Right.
split the bills.
Right, so the motion is to split two Nyhart bills with the town in accordance with the town manager's suggestion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to go with the town manager's motion to split the two Nyhart bills with the town. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Item E, review and approval of the previous meeting minutes.
Motion to approve minutes from May 20th, 2019.
Second,
Motion made and seconded to approve minutes from May 20th, 2019. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Rockland. Actually, Clearbrook first. Okay, starting off with Clearbrook. Market value as of May 31st, 2019, $39,937,300. Don't they, total cash on hand is $6,300,723. For 1 month, review, market went down 3.1%. 3-month overview was up 0.4. Year-to-date is 7.7. Next one is the Rockland. Beginning market value, this covers a period of 1/1/19 to 5/31/19, 34 million. Sorry, that's this, for this ending of 5/31/19. $34,644,805.41. There was a change in the market value of $1,189,932.95. It has an ending market value of $35,504,521.24. The realized gain and loss includes everything in total value was $136,004.76. Year to date, We have, from the first of the year till May 31st, have a gain of $95,692.83. Item G, discussion and action regarding payment of bills. First one, Olin and Penza, MBF 7372 for April 2019 for $1,054.50.
I make a motion that we pay, item one for $1,054.50.
Well, do you want me to put them all together? or-
Put them together.
All right, let's.
Yeah, 'cause it's not
hold up on
separated.
that.
Okay.
Second item under one is MBF 737225, Plan Redraft, April of 2019, $906.50. For a total of the two items is $1,961.
I make a motion that we approve the payment of the Olin and Penza bills for a total of $1,961.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to pay item G1 for Olin and Penza for $1,961. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 2 is Nyhart Corporation, Actuarial and Administrative Services, September 2018. And also the update, that's the update of place retroactive for $320. And item B is August of 2018, calculating the police reactive to increases, an item of $3,170 for a total of $3,490. These are the two items that we discussed earlier, that the town manager agreed or suggested that we split these two. We took a vote on that to do that. Now bring that back to the town council, I think it's next Tuesday night, and go back to them.
Do you want me to email to try to get on the June agenda
Yes,
for the
tell them,
18th?
yeah, because they, at the last meeting was that, they said if we approve it here, go back to them, and then they'll reconsider splitting the bill.
So motion to table items 2A and 2B until the council
Until the town
decides.
council. So, second that motion, please.
Motion made and seconded to table item 2A and B, that's G, 2A and B, until we go back to the town council. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. G3, Orthopedic Associates. This is for the IME of Peter Blaze in the amount of $1,250.
Motion to pay item 3A.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to pay item G3A. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, H, discussion and reaction and action regarding application for return of contributions from Michelle Rose School. Termination date was 9/2018. Did you get a
It
figure?
didn't come in.
No figure
That
yet.
was the one that we talked to our town about.
Yeah, okay.
You have to table it.
Yeah.
Motion to,
Motion made to table, item H.
second.
Motion made and seconded to table item H until we get some figures. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item H, discussion and action on applications received to approve. First one is William Leahy from the fire, 4/12/2019, and I believe you got the figures today, Tracy?
Yeah, they're in there. I emailed them to Bill, talked with Bill. I don't know if he's approved them, so you might wanna do subject to approve.
Motion to approve item I-1, William Leahy, subject to his approval, and thanks for his service.
Second.
Just approve, David, just the figure.
Motion made and seconded to approve item I-1, subject to approval of bill for the amounts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item I-2, Linda Petrarca to schools, normal, 3/9/2019. Did you get those figures also?
And
She approved?
what was the figure, Mr. Chairman, for Mr. Leahy?
You guys didn't read.
I don't have nothing here. Did you get it?
Yeah, we got it
Yeah,
here.
you
It's in
didn't
the
read
packet.
the
So the
figures,
beginning-
remember, because it said pending, so you have to read the
The
amount.
first payment is $3,742.19.
$3,207.
$3,742.19.
For Bill Leahy.
And that's subject to his approval.
Okay. What do we have for,
Linda is,
And Linda's is.
218,839?
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
so motion, did she sign off on hers?
She just did.
All right,
It'd be upstairs.
motion to approve item I-2, Linda Petrarca, in the amount of $2,188.39, and thank her for her service.
Second.
motion.
motion made and seconded to approve item I-2, Linda Petrarca, in the amount of $2,188.39. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, I-3 is Michael Clark from the police, 12/4/2018.
They
Which-
have sent me a list of questions.
Yep.
So
Motion-
we'll have to table it.
Motion to table item I-3, Mike Clark.
Second the motion to table I-3?
Motion made and seconded to table I-3 till we get some more questions answered. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item J, discussion action regarding calculations of COLA benefits of fire disability retirees.
That's one of the votes.
Yep.
That was the vote for the board opinion, I'll bet.
You want to read the board opinion?
Yep.
We amended, I just
Yep.
wasn't remembering if we amended it or not.
Okay. Looking,
Do we have to do anything? We voted,
You can just
just explain.
explain it.
Mhm.
Yep.
So can I make a motion to waive the reading and have council brief the public as to what that opinion states? Motion to waive the reading of 2019-1, which was approved, and have council explain what that opinion states.
Second.
motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, can you hear me? I'm usually not too quiet. So this was a question that had been brought before the board on how to calculate the disability pension benefits for a firefighter retiring on an occupational disability pension on or after July 1st, 2014. The question came up because under the consent judgment, an occupational disability pensioner for the fire department receives 2/3 of their basic annual salary up until the time upon which they would have completed 25 years of service or reached age 62 and a half, and at that point in time, their benefit converts to 55% of the basic annual salary of active employees who then occupy the same position as the member did upon retirement. The question that was raised by the actuary was the application of the COLA to the conversion. And because there's a 7-year suspension on the COLA and then a 15-year COLA, what would happen if the pensioner were to start receiving their COLA and then their benefits were to convert? So the board went through the consent judgment and the police and fire plan from 2006 and concluded that the pension COLA benefit would commence on the earlier of 7 years from the member's disability retirement date or the date that the member reaches age 62 and a half. And if the conversion to 55% were to happen while the member is receiving COLA benefits then the member shall receive retroactive application of all previously applied COLA benefits into the calculation of the new benefit. So that the actuary can then include the prior COLAs into the calculation of that new 55% benefit, so that the pensioner will get the benefit of the full 15 years of the COLAs. That's it. So it's a board opinion, and it'll be finalized, and if anyone wants a copy, you're welcome to it.
That didn't answer my question from last time.
On the firefighter disability one?
Police and firefighter.
You still have a question?
I do have a question.
What's your question?
Kevin O'Connell, Chairman of the West Warwick Police and Fire Disability. Last month, you must remember the heated discussion we got in about the 2% COLA for the police and firemen that were involved in the lawsuit with the town, which began in 2014, and our MOU states that July 1st, 2019, 30-some members of the Police and Fire Disability Association will receive a 2% COLA. And Al, you said, well, we're going to reinstitute the COLAs. And I said, Al, we never got a COLA. So the actuary was, I guess, asking a question, how do we do this? Am I correct, Trace? When they sent a question to you people, they said, well, you know, we understand they never got a COLA, so we need some guidance from you people how to implement this COLA, because they never got it before. In the history of the West Warwick Police and Fire, disability guys never got a COLA. And I don't want to reiterate this again, because we got an escalation clause, an escalator, meaning if they got a 3% raise, we would get 2/3 of that 3%. Okay, but we changed that with the MOU. Do you have the MOU?
Yes.
You read it?
Tracy and I went over that last week after we.
And my question was to you, you said you didn't know that as of July 1st, if my guys would get their 2% COLA. Now, I came to you people in February of 2019, I came to you, and I said, look, we signed an MOU with the town. And I said, I know I'm coming early, okay, but I just want you to be aware that July 1st, my guys get a 2% COLA for 5 years and a 3% COLA for 5 years, starting in July 1st, 2019. And I know you thought I came prematurely, but I just knew how you acted and how you procrastinate on things, if you want me to use the word. So I wanted to make sure that my guys were going to get it in their July check of 2019. And you told me last month that you weren't sure whether they were going to get it or not.
That's correct. But Tracy and I.
So they are going to get it July 1st.
Yes.
I have them upstairs.
You have them upstairs? Well,
Go
isn't,
over them with Albert.
okay, so
That's
July,
why I put it on the agenda. I just didn't know if the board needed to approve it or the council. Remember all that?
I remember that,
And
but,
that was my only confusion.
but the confusion was you didn't know if we were going to get it July 1st,
Yeah, we were.
right?
The way,
That was a confusion.
It's gonna go to the meeting probably tonight or tomorrow.
Okay, so,
the way it reads, between what Tracy and I looked at, you should be getting it. Starting July 1st.
of course we should be getting it.
Yes.
That's without a doubt. So I can reassure 37 guys that July 1st in their check from Rockland, I believe it is,
Yeah.
that they will be getting their increase of 2%.
To the best of my knowledge, what the information that Tracy and I looked at, you will get it, and she's gonna be sending the figures to the bank. You'll be getting it starting July 1st.
July 1st. Chase is smiling.
If you don't get it, let us know.
Sure.
I know you will, but God forbid if you don't get it for whatever reason. Well,
But there shouldn't be a reason why I shouldn't begin the
You're
day.
absolutely right.
You're the board.
I know. There really shouldn't be. It's black and white. There should be no question. But it's just a matter of,
But what's the date today?
10th of June.
The 10th of June. I
I
came
can't
to
see
you.
it. What I want to say is I can't see any reason why you wouldn't receive it. I really can't. I know the relationship between employees in the town, retirees in the town, and we all think that somebody's out to screw us. I come from the same, that's how I play too. I'm expecting the worst to happen. I get that sentiment, I really do. If they do not have a 2% pay increase July 1st for you guys, I'd be completely shocked. That would be the most foolish thing I've ever heard of. It makes no sense why they wouldn't. There's no reason why they shouldn't.
Who's they? Rockland?
Yes.
But did you direct them? Did the board direct them to put that 2% COLA into the
I think
monthly
that's where the
checks?
question came up, was who needs to do that? Who needs to make that direction? That was the question. And that
Who-
was the manager asking us, who needs to make that authorization? Is it us? Should we pass an ordinance to affirm that? Or is it just enough for the board?
It said
to tell-
judgments.
Right, so did they?
Well, that was part of the confusion, that's why I put it on, but it's all SAC.
It's come down to the board needs to
It ended
tell
up having to be the board.
Rockland. So that's what we're going to do.
So you do have the authority over the MOU now?
You mean, when you say over, what do you mean by over? We can't change it.
I don't want
We
you to
can-
change it.
We
I
have
want
to
you to
follow
follow
what
it.
it
Right,
says.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I want you to follow, I don't want you to change anything about the
Right.
MOU. Please leave it alone,
I,
okay? Please leave it
I
alone.
have no intention
Okay,
of touching
speaks
it.
for itself.
I couldn't answer your question because I didn't know exactly everything it says. I don't have a photographic memory. I rely on counsel a lot to tell stuff, and sometimes my
But you
interpretation.
shouldn't rely on
Well, I
your
have
legal
to
counsel.
because each of us can interpret something, and it may not be the correct interpretation. And I don't want to tell Tracy, let's have NIARC do this, and then get these figures and send them to the bank, when we actually say it's not that. So have to check it and making sure we do right so that it's fair to everybody, fair to the pension system, and fair to individuals that are collecting it, that it is right, and that we're not gonna do something wrong where it affects your members, and then we're in looking bad with them, and now we've gotta straighten that out. So I sat down with Tracy.
We won't get into that, but you already did something
Yeah,
wrong.
I know.
You know what I
But I
mean?
sat down with Tracy, and
And we're into 4 years of litigation because you did something wrong.
And we're not gonna discuss that.
That's
Thank you
right.
for bringing it up, though, Mr.
But
Romano.
I will bring it up,
I
absolutely.
know.
Okay? Because I have a widow out here that's just suffering
but
for 4
Tracy and I
years
sat
because
down
of
and looked
something
at
you did.
those.
So let me get this straight. Tonight, let's get it final.
Mm-hmm.
The pension board has authority over the West Warwick Police and Fire MOU. You make the decisions as to what is implemented on our MOU.
Let's not discuss legal questions when there's litigation pending. I appreciate the concern, but according to the pension plan, the board interprets the plan, and I can happily give you a copy of the plan if you need it.
Okay, so the board interprets the plan.
They do.
Okay. And the MOU. Because the MOU isn't part of the plan yet because the town hasn't accepted the redraft.
Happy to give you copies of the
Right?
documents
So,
if you need them.
caught you there.
You did.
Okay? So, and my next question, and it's off the subject, but I won't get up for public comment. I've been asking for how much the plan redraft has cost us up to this date, and I still haven't got the figure. So a complete date of the West Warwick Police and Fire pension and the cost of the Public Works pension, if you could.
Oh, I can get that.
So you can combine the,
Yeah.
you can combine the amount.
It is combined, so yeah, I
Okay.
have to give you the
So
combined.
I'm just
If you could just
stating,
send me
you
that
can
and-
combine it. You don't have to give me separate figures.
Just to combine it, she'll send it to me. I'll
redraft
send
and
it
what
to you.
else?
Just the
Just the
redraft.
redraft.
Just the redraft.
Yeah,
Both
just the
plans.
redraft.
Okay.
It'll be through last month, because it's,
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay.
And then I'll send it to you.
Good, guys, you're gonna get your raise July 1st.
Let's see. Item K, discussion action regarding bids received pursuant to RFQ for legal counsel. We reaffirmed our vote that we had an executive session. After much debate and many months of back and forth and so forth, we have decided to stay with Olin and Penza. I will note that the vote was split and I had to make a deciding vote since I was the chairperson. That wasn't easy to do. This board is hassled back and forth over it. There've been a lot of questions, a lot of territory to cover, a lot of things to think about, what happens down the road. But at the end, we decided to stay with Olin Penza. And that's about it.
I just want to make a comment as a dissenting vote and just give a dissenting opinion. And has nothing to do with Olin and Penza or you, as a firm or you as an attorney. My nay vote was based on the fact that we had almost no competitive bids. It was Olin and Penza and one other, and I just don't think that was worthy of my vote. I think we needed to go out to bid again, receive more bids, and do a better process. Unfortunately, like I said, I was only one of 2 nay votes. But again, nothing against you as an attorney. I think you're great. I think the firm is great. Provided a great service. I just would have rather seen more bids to compare. That's all.
Next, item L, discussion action regarding calculations of COLA benefits for non-union employees. We have had and have employees that are working for the town without a contract that are non-union. And when they retire, the question comes up as to where they fall as far as what their benefits are going to be and what the COLA part is. Maybe you should explain it further from here, because I know I'm going to do it wrong.
Sure. So it's another question from the actuary that they've asked as far as for a non-union employee that falls under the administrative handbook, how to calculate that COLA benefit. The administrative handbook refers to the pension plan as for the COLA schedule, which opens kind of the can of worms that the board's been going through, because we have 2 pension plan documents that have been amended by multiple ordinances, that have been changed by consent judgments, that have been changed by CBAs, and all things that have gone into that, and that our pension plan is aged. We're working off of a 2006 pension plan. So the provisions in the plan that talk about the COLA benefits are not up to date with the recent consent judgments and the CBAs and things that have changed those benefits for the union employees. So the board has been getting together all of the documentation to put together a board opinion to share with everyone on how to calculate those COLA benefits for the non-union employees. And my understanding is that the chair and vice chair will be setting up a meeting with the town manager to put together all of the or show them all the information that the board has put together, and to discuss the best way to treat those benefits, or calculate those benefits, I should say.
And hopefully, the outcome of that meeting, we will get some direction in that so that this doesn't happen again. I was quite surprised that we have people that work for the town without any kind of a contract or anything for any of their benefits, whatever it may be, that we're all working for the town. But our goal is to get some answers and see if we can solve this problem so that it doesn't happen again. Any other discussion? Okay.
We probably have to make a motion to table it, so after the meeting.
Motion to table item L.
Second motion to table item L.
Motion made and seconded to table item L till next month. And our meeting with the town manager. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item M, discussion and action regarding question from school department regarding part-time employment post-retirement. We have 2, got them here somewhere, 2 draft ordinance amendments. Is that amendments, correct? 2
Ordinances amendment.
ordinance that would amend. It's the board's opinion that the town, when the plan was rewritten up, it overlooked employees coming back to work. Right now, it pleasantly says it cannot do that. We have one or two that are doing that in violation of it, but we think it's just an overlook. So we've got two ordinances, one for police and fire, and one excluding police and fire, present to the council that basically just takes care of that overlook, and so that they can amend their ordinance so that it allows them to come back to work for the town part-time if they want to.
So you're gonna have to table it, we're trying to get it on the
We're
town
trying, yeah,
council
we
agenda.
have sent the town council president to add that on to Tuesay's, the
June
18th
18th, he
meeting.
hasn't responded yet.
Public comment.
I have a question.
Come on up to, yeah, come on up to the mic.
My name is Linda Petrarca, and I'm a retiree
Oh,
from,
congratulations.
thank you, from the school department. So I've been coming to the board meetings for a little while now, and I don't always know exactly what you're talking about, but I try to follow along. And I can see that there's a lot of confusion because maybe questions are not asked and specifics are not spelled out. So in this item M, it says, question from the school department regarding part-time employment post-retirement. My question is, are you talking about permanent part-time employment or sub-employment? Because within, I don't know about the police or fire, but within the school department, when someone retires, if there is a need, they will often fill in, whether it's a teacher assistant, school secretary, finance, they will very often fill in as a sub, not an employee. So that's one instance.
I'm sorry, just not to cut you off, but if they're not an employee, who's paying them? Is it still the school department cutting the
The
check?
town, the
Okay,
school
so-
department. So, but there are two scenarios. So there are part-time employed, hired within the union, and then there are subs. So I'm trying to discern here what you're talking about. Are you talking about full-time, part-time employment or subs? I'm confused, because I've always heard that the police and fire have people who fill in for details or
Road
whatever,
details.
and to me, that sounds like sub work. Does the pension plan allow for permanent part-time employment
These
after
indiv-
retirement?
So these individuals are coming back to work after retired, fill in a spot, but they basically come to work every day?
Some of them do, some of them work intermittently, but they're subs, they're not receiving any benefits, whether it's time off or holidays, things like that. But there are both, we have both, we have permanent and subs. So my question is, if you're looking to change something in item M, I guess what I'm asking you is, can you make it specific? So if it's permanent and subs that this is affecting, or just permanent, or just subs?
Sure.
I hope I'm making sense, 'cause
Yeah, no,
I know it's
you've
pretty
got really good
confusing.
question.
So
Just-
oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, just to
No.
be clear and
Yeah.
have everything
Yeah.
spelled
Yeah,
out
no.
now, rather than 2 years from now, someone saying, what happened?
I didn't realize there was somebody that would retire from the school department and could come back and work unlimited hours without,
Well, there's permanent and there's subbing.
right.
So does the plan allow that, first of all? And I'm assuming that when they were looking to do this, that they asked the plan, I don't know. But I just want all the bases, I would like to see all the bases covered when you do this.
So the issue is, it's section 5.08 of the plan, and it's entitled reemployment of retired members. That's the section. And the proposed ordinances are identical for the police and fire plan and for the excluding police and fire plan, to allow reemployment of retired members. That's the title of it.
Okay,
Because once you've retired from the town, you've retired from the town, and you
Mhm.
cannot receive any further benefits from the town without having this section in there that allows reemployment of a retired member in any way, shape, or form. So what had happened was there was an ordinance, I believe, in 2002, or no, sorry, I think it was 2001. No,
I think you're right, 2000.
it might have been 2002.
Hmm.
Yeah, there was. There was an ordinance in 2002 that was passed by the town council that amended the plan excluding police and fire, but it amended the 2001 plan.
When you say excluding police and fire,
Everybody not police and fire. That's the way, that's the title of the plan.
okay, all right,
So it's the 2006 plan
Okay.
excluding police and fire,
All
and
right.
the 2006 plan for police and fire. So there was this ordinance that amended that plan and allowed reemployment of a retired member, but that amended the 2001 plan. Okay. Then the 2006 plan was passed, and it wasn't pulled forward.
okay.
It was another ordinance passed, I believe in 2011, if I remember correctly, for the police and fire plan. And in the police and fire plan, they passed the same ordinance that had previously been passed for the excluding police and fire plan, but for police and fire, allowing reemployment of a retired member. And the only changes that they made from the old ordinance to the new one is they changed which plan it applied to, and they increased the amount, there's a cap on a dollar amount and a cap
Mhm.
on a number of hours. So they
Right.
increased the dollar amount cap. So what the board is proposing here are two new ordinances, one for each plan, one for the police and fire plan, and one for the plan excluding police and fire, that are both identical, allowing reemployment of a retired member up to a maximum of 1,000 hours in a calendar year and up to a maximum of $35,000 of benefits in a calendar year. And there's all sorts of other, details, but that's
Right,
the summary. So it's really pulling what was an old ordinance that amended an old plan to a new ordinance amending the new plan.
it was like something got skipped.
It seems as though that may have happened.
Okay,
That's our
It looks
understanding.
like it was an oversight, and while we're try to correct that oversight and put it back in, so make it legal for the ones that are working.
mhm,
We also upped the dollar amount because of just price of everything and
Okay.
fairness that way also.
okay, and there's no differentiating between permanent versus subs?
That's
It's the
correct.
same,
No.
it's just hours and dollar
So
amount.
Just
you don't
hours and
care
dollar
whether
amount,
they're
yeah.
hired permanently or
As long as they don't
subs?
go over
The
the
plan will
hours.
allow for that.
Right.
Okay,
As
all right,
long as-
that answers my
As long as they
question.
meet
It's when they exceed the hours
The
or
hours
the
or
dollar amount,
the
that's when,
financial.
that's
Yep.
when we have to kick in and say,
Right,
well,
okay,
you
all right.
exceeded it.
then
That's
that
all.
answers my question, thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
and congratulations again.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
No.
Okay,
Good question.
So,
What's
motion
that?
to,
Table.
That was a
it.
good question.
do, a motion to submit it to the council, or they already?
It has been.
It has been, so
You always
motion,
have to table.
motion to table item M.
Second motion to table item M.
motion made and seconded to table item M, till we get, hear back from the council. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item N, discussion action, meeting with Nyhart. Had a meeting with Nyhart and the town manager. We went over several of the bills, there was questions about them. The outcome of that was, found out who requested the services done at each of the bills that were in question. I actually did find out who they were, and those bills got sent to the correct departments that had requested the work. They also agreed to, down the road, when they requested a service, to find out who's requesting it, get the name and all of that, and so that the bill can be sent to the right department and not us having to get everybody's bill and then trying to sort it out so that we don't pay something that we're not supposed to. Also, no, that wasn't with Nyhart, that was with the manager. I think that was it.
It was with Nyhart
Yeah.
too.
But that's about it. So we've got to, hold on, I also explained to him about the 2018 bills, which we discussed earlier tonight, and I went to the council meeting. I'm gonna go back next week, council meeting, as far as who's responsible for them. And so hopefully we'll get that resolved next week, and we can get that paid off. And that's it on that one.
Mr. Chairman, not to rehash Mr. O'Connell's concern, but that meeting addressed that concern, correct? That's when Nyhart was in the meeting with the manager who was going to approve the COLA was
Yes.
sorted out,
Yeah.
right? That was
Yes,
the-
it was.
okay.
That meeting with the town manager
and NIHAR officials.
involved 2% COLA for July 1st. So the discussion you had with NIHAR and Mr. Zimbrinsky was involved in our 2% COLA in our MOU.
That was one of the items discussed,
It was
yes,
resolved at
yes.
that meeting.
yes. And like I said, I went
And
over,
then it was turned over to the actuary to do the figures.
well, Tracy and I went over what they were and then turned them
You went
over.
over the figures, you didn't ask NIHAR to do the figures?
No, we sent that to NIHAR to do the figures so they can give us that amount so that Tracy can send to the bank.
Explain that, Tracy.
Yes, no?
You signed that agreement,
I signed the
right?
agreement,
You
yep.
signed the agreement that the pension board would pay for your COLAs, and then, yes, we went over the MOU and said that you'd get a 2% COLA for July 1st, and they sent me the figures back. We're just gonna look at the figures to make sure, try to make sure they have everyone. Do you know what I mean? That no one's
People are
missed.
involved in the
Yeah,
organization.
we're gonna
not
try-
association.
I haven't looked at them yet, yeah, so I
How
can
about
get them
people
over
that-
to the bank.
I don't wanna get into it with the lawyer, but how about the people that didn't join the association? Are they gonna get the 2%?
I can't
Or is
answer
that
that,
to
I'm
the
not the
council?
board.
Or have you made that decision? As a pension board, the people that don't belong to this MOU, that didn't sign this MOU, are they gonna get that 2% COLA too?
Are they even on that list? You know?
We have to go over the list, Albert. and
Yeah, I know.
figures, yeah.
We're gonna do that tonight after we get done.
Well, and I don't wanna rehash, because I don't wanna get in with the lawyer again. But, okay, but the first instant, you did put everybody in, and they got the same MOU. Everybody, anybody that didn't join this organization became part of this MOU. That's what you told me. So now you're telling me that you're gonna look at it and see whether the guys that didn't join the organization are gonna get that 2%. You already
No,
got the
not,
MOU,
not,
they got the
not look at it for
benefits of the
somebody who didn't join. Whether it joined or not is not what Tracy and I are gonna do tonight.
MOU. Well, how can they get the 2% if they're not part of this MOU? Right, if they didn't sign it. Each one of my guys has this, individually signed, their names. Each one has a certified copy with their name that joined the MOU,
Yeah.
that signed the MOU, that was in Superior Court.
Okay.
Certain guys didn't elect to do this. They
That's
didn't.
correct. I remember
Yeah,
that.
But they got the MOU, and that's neither here nor there. But now you're telling me you don't know if they're gonna get the 2%, and you're making that decision.
We're not making the decision. We're just looking to see who's on the list, if there's, maybe somebody got missed, or if the figures are wrong or something. Tracy's really good at finding mistakes. Earlier this week, we sat down, and she
I know
went over.
Tracy's capabilities.
Yeah. And all we're trying to do is dot the i's and cross the t's. As far as if there's somebody on that list, that's, you're saying shouldn't be there, that's not my decision to make.
Whose is it?
That's a good question.
Well, there's only the pension board and the town council. God can't make that decision for you. Okay, so it's either gonna be your decision or the West Warwick Town Council. That's the only people that can make that decision.
Right, because of the Wade agreement and consent judgment and all of that, yes. So, I'm gonna say the town council.
They'd have to,
I don't believe that.
well, you know, it's all about how an ordinance was written, right?
One, if it's by ordinance, yes, and how it's written. But again,
So,
consent
No
judgment,
ordinance for the MOU.
all I can say is, we've got a list names, we're gonna check everything and make sure they're. If they're not supposed to be on there, I don't think it's our decision to say that, yes or no.
Whose decision is it then?
I would say, I have to agree with, I would say the town council. We just administer the plan, we don't do the rest of that.
Okay, so you're suggesting that I go to the West Warwick Town Council and ask them the same question, and they should be able to give me the answer?
I would hope, yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I will take that. That's your.
Because, and I don't want to go any further with this, but I'll just say this much, Kevin. The agreement was between the council and the parties. So if the council wants to do something different on that, then they would have that say.
I actually came here for public comment tonight, but I'll comment on this.
Okay.
Tracy, you brought this to the council 4 weeks ago. You guys sent me an email about the COLAs.
Yeah.
And I spoke to the attorney Williamson and the town manager. And they said this 2% COLA is not on the council because it's already in the MOU. So it didn't come back to the council, it came back to you. Okay, so the MOU and the 2% COLA is on you as a board. Now, the members, as far as the council's not going to be able to answer those 4, 5, 6 members who did not sign that MOU. Because we were unaware, and then Mr. O'Connell's the only one who could probably name all 5 or 6 or whatever it is. But the council was unaware there was anybody, except from Mr. O'Connell telling us that there was individuals not signing that MOU. So that is not going to come before the council.
So you were unaware that they didn't sign the MOU?
That there was some individuals, it was after the MOU was signed, Mr. O'Connell talked to me upstairs about a year ago and gave me a ration of hell up there and told me this needs to be resolved. Solicitor Williamson said, this has nothing to do with the council. This has to do with the pension, the MOU, and the pension board. So that's going to be your decision on who gets that 2%. Now, I don't think it's going to come back to the council.
So you said we gotta go by what the MOU says regards the plan?
The MOU is the MOU.
The MOU was drafted and designed.
And if somebody didn't sign it, why should they get the luxury of it? If there is even a luxury of it.
Well, the MOU,
I hate to say it that way, but
the MOU had nothing to do with the pension board. The MOU was signed by the council.
and once it was
and
signed by the
retirees.
council,
So what I'm getting at is that if there are members that did not agree to that MOU, then how is it on us to adjust their benefits? Wouldn't
how's it
we-
on us to adjust their benefits?
We-
They didn't sign the MOU,
We wouldn't just arbitrarily adjust someone's benefits without some sort
and
of
you shouldn't
agreement.
adjust it.
So-
Whatever they
so
get.
they're getting
They
66
didn't
and-
sign the MOU, they shouldn't get the 2%.
So they'd get 66 2/3 for life then? They would just continue getting the escalators? Is that what you're saying? The MOU wouldn't apply to them?
Let me ask you, I don't know who didn't sign it. I can't even tell you who didn't sign it, but you didn't sign
What
it.
I'm saying is, we can't just, if you have a group of people that didn't agree to the MOU, how can we apply any of the provisions of the MOU, including the elimination of their escalator, including changes to their health care? We can't just talk about the COLA.
Let me ask you, was that ever eliminated?
I don't know.
Because I know he's asked that numerous times and nobody can answer it.
Nobody can answer.
And me as a town councilman I don't look into those records. Tracy probably have those records, or somebody else will know what they're getting paid, human resources, whatever. I don't know what any retiree, anybody who's sitting in this crowd gets for a benefit, or whatever.
Believe me,
That's-
neither do I. I don't have a drawer at home that I can just pull and look at everybody's benefit.
But-
It doesn't
but-
exist.
But you have a clerk that represents you that you can get that information for. And if Mr. O'Connell's asking for those 5 or 6, you should be able to, it should be public record. And if they're getting those benefits, and again, we can't, you and I can go on all night, we don't know if they
We
got
don't
those
know.
escalations called, we don't know if they
We don't
collected, we don't know if they followed that MOU.
Well, I guess what
Still
I'm
to this
saying-
day, I don't know, and Mr. O'Connell doesn't know, so the question would be,
We're getting-
and Tracy would have to look, I don't even know the 6 names, or 5 names.
Let's say she looks into it and they are getting X, Y, and Z benefit. Now, again, I still hold the opinion that it's not up to this board to now change that benefit without direction from the council. If we have 5 members that are getting escalators, they're getting the old health care, they're getting COLAs, whatever they're getting, it's not gonna be on us to change that arbitrarily. It's gonna have to come from the council to say, hey, those 5 people, this is how you have to treat them. Because we're gonna open ourselves up to start changing benefits on a whim, just to align with the MOU. We can't do that.
Again, you
Sir,
could-
I was gonna, Davis brings up something I was going to ask you, and I think it comes along the same line. So, the people that did not sign the MOU, as far as you're concerned as the council, that.
I'm one person, but if it
Right.
comes before the
No,
council,
I'm
I'm
not
gonna.
putting the whole, you on the spot for the whole council. But what I'm asking is, if whatever those individuals were getting before the MOU, the ones who didn't sign it,
So,
they're still getting whatever they were at the time.
Mr. Haru, that would be the question. If this comes before the council, the first thing I'm gonna ask for, did they ever take a cut?
Right, what
Did
are
they ever
getting?
take the sacrifices that some of these people in this crowd did? And that's the question I will ask, and I want those answers. And I'll make no decision unless I have those answers. Now, the same question should be from you guys and ladies. were they receiving the same benefit or more benefit than the people who signed the MOU? That's the question that needs to be answered. And that should be answered basically from either the clerk or human resources, not
Okay,
from
but
Dave
again-
Goslin or the town council.
But it gets back to David's point that we can't change.
You
what
can't
they're
change,
getting
but
for
you can find
benefits.
out what they were getting and you can report it back.
Which has been done,
We
Which
did all
has-
that.
been done.
We've had several meetings. We've already reported all that to the town manager. We've had myself, Lego, I can't remember if the old chair or anyone else attended the meetings, I can't remember. We have.
Which town manager? This one or?
Ernie?
Okay, 'cause
I do remember that.
then if it comes before us, I'll ask those questions, because you know, but again, I think Mr. O'Connell's never gotten the answer.
Oh, I understand that you're not getting the answer, I don't
Yes, yes,
think
he
I
has.
can say,
There's only two resolutions to this. And let's go back to 2014, when the other town manager, Mr. Sanford, was here, okay? Town was in financial crisis. I'm gonna be short on this. Town's in financial crisis. He sends out a memo to everybody, okay? You either negotiate with the town to get us out of this bankruptcy situation, or we're gonna impose two ordinances. 20% reduction in, pay for your health care. You're gonna pay 20% to your health care, and we're gonna take 20% from your pension. Those are your two options, no other option available, okay? Town council passed the ordinance, those are it. So you come to the bargaining table, or you're dead meat. That's what you got. We're gonna take 20 and 20 from you. So we all went to the bargaining table. We all came up with these simple MOUs that I thought were simple, okay? And we asked all the retirees, disability, that's who I represent. I said, look, we're in negotiations with the town. If you don't join the organization, we hired a lawyer. If you don't join the organization, you're gonna get a 20% cut in your benefits. You're gonna pay 20% towards your health care. You're gonna get a 20% cut in your pension. So, most of these guys came to me and said, we'd like to join your organization. We went from 16 to 30-some members. Certain guys didn't respond, and I'm not their babysitter. I sent out the email, I said, look, if you wanna come in, we got a lawyer, we're gonna negotiate with the town, da-da-da. We came up with this MOU. 5 or 6 guys didn't respond. They didn't. One guy stayed with the police department, and I wished him good luck. He went with their benefit, whatever that was, the current contract. The other guys never responded. And I've asked for a couple of years, Trace, what happened to these guys that didn't join? And everybody said, it's not that simple. It's that simple. No, it's not that simple. Yeah, I think it is that simple, because it's only 2020 or you're the MOU. So these guys I know, I'm in my organization, because I run a pretty tight ship. So I know who's in my organization, and I have every guy that signed that MOU. So these guys didn't. So did they get that benefit, or did they get 2020? That's all I wanted to know. It was simple. 5 guys, who cares? Well, lo and behold, after we argued for almost 2 years, I think it was you, Al, that went with Ernie, and you said, oh, we got some bad news, Kev. I said, well, what's the bad news? What's the bad news? Which? There's one or two things. The guys didn't get, because I know they didn't get to 2020. Because you know why, if they got to 2020, they'd be calling Kevin O'Connell up on the phone and say, we want to join this friggin' organization, okay? So I know they didn't get to 2020. So they either got no reduction, and they still get the 66 2/3, like every other police and fire disability guy gets now, they get an escalation clause, or they got my guy's benefit, or reduction in benefit, as I want to call it, okay?
Yep.
And so Ernie says that Fred Presley put everybody in, even if they didn't sign the MOU, into that benefit.
okay,
Yeah. Do I want to sue the town for, but no, I don't want to do that. That's not my sole purpose. I feel bad for these guys because I have to charge them an assessment every month, okay? And these guys are getting a free ride, okay?
you
on
hired a
our- on
lawyer,
our
the
dollar.
whole yard.
But
You hired a lawyer and everything, all the expenses to get to that.
I'm not a badass. I understand, what can I do? You know, where am I gonna go? Sue Mr. Goslin, sue the pension board? You know, I told my guys, hey, it's an unfair thing. They accepted it. They were a little pissed off at
Have
me.
you looked into suing the members that didn't join and receive the same benefit? Like
How
those-
could I sue them when they chose not to do it? It wasn't their fault, they didn't want to do it. So they accepted whatever benefit you bestowed upon them. So how could I sue them for not joining the organization.
Yeah.
There was
No,
only
you
two
may wanna
options
look
for
into-
these guys.
But you're saying that the previous
It
manager
has
is
to
one
happen
who,
somewhere. There's gotta be
the
some
one who
sort
made the
of case
decision
law
to
with that.
give them,
No, it wasn't the previous, yeah, it was Mr. Presley.
right,
Mr. Sanford put the 2020 in. Mr. Presley, after we did the negotiation, he said, just throw the rest of the guys in, you know. Throw them under the rug, and maybe nobody will notice. But I did notice. And I only wanted to know because my guys, I answer them. And they ask me, they say, hey, what happened to those guys that didn't join? I said, I don't know, but I'll find out for you. That's my job, that's your chairman. So I found out. And you guys didn't tell me for 2 years, I don't know why, but we finally got it.
Yeah.
And that's what I suspected all along.
okay.
Okay, so they got the benefit. My question to you now, are you gonna continue giving them more benefits out of that MOU?
Or
Or are
stop
you
them.
gonna stop it right now and say, hey, I'm sorry, guys, you may have got the MOU, then maybe they can sue you, I don't know, because they're getting a benefit under the MOU, but they're not getting the full benefit under the MOU, because if you stop the 2% and 3% COLAs now, which are part of the MOU. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
So the guys that didn't join my organization might have a lawsuit against the town if you vote not to give them the 2% and 3% COLA. Because now you're depriving them of a benefit that the other guys who are paying for are gonna receive July 1st. I just hope that doesn't, with me saying that, doesn't screw up my guys July 1st,
No,
2019. If you vote not to give those other guys, I really don't give a shit. I want my guys to get their July 1st, 2019 benefit. They've been waiting 5 years.
Yep.
They deserve that.
Mr. Goslin, the town manager, when he makes a decision, for instance, what he just relayed, is that need council approval, or is he allowed to do that without approval?
Anything to do with that should come before the council, as far as that goes. I mean, even his $1,800 or whatever it was,
Yeah.
he brought that before the council. So if
Yep.
he's making a decision, and Fred Presley did not bring that before the council. I can tell you that now.
Did not. So,
On those individuals, Kevin, can you tell me how many individuals? You don't say their name, just, how many? 5 individuals.
so he
And
did
again,
that without council approval,
it's-
to
One
your
of them
knowledge?
passed away,
Huh?
right?
Yeah.
One pass, yeah, one
What's that?
pass.
And one's in-
That was done, he made the decision without council approval, to your knowledge?
Gonna take that as a yes. Because the MOU did come before the council, I'll totally agree with that, and we did sign the MOU.
Yeah.
It wasn't till months later, until Kevin discovered it, and he did bring it up at the council, he brought it up to all of you, and he was on it for a few years, I know that.
Okay.
So,
Does
I
it-
mean, if it does come before the council, you know, I don't know what their monthly fees are, but I would say those 5 individuals should pay his organization their monthly fees for
That's
the
what I'm
last
saying.
5 years,
Right.
not, and I don't know how you go about that, because that's a totally different organization.
Yeah.
That'd be my only suggestion, is if you're gonna give them the 2%, if the council or this board is gonna give them the 2%, that they pay their attorney fees and all that. They've had some sort of representation, even though they don't know they had representation for the last 5 years. You
It's
know,
like the fair share.
It's a
fees.
fair share, and I think
Right.
it's only fair,
Yeah,
you know.
or at least, if nothing else, pay it from this point on.
Kevin, just a quick question.
No, I think they should pay it back and get
Well,
the 2.
I agree, but I don't, whether you're not gonna get them to do that or not, well, I mean, that's another thing.
That's
It's
another
gonna
whole,
turn
that's
into-
another whole thing.
That's not in the
Not me.
Again, I don't know what the fees are per month, I don't know
But
any of
you-
that,
you-
but
You answered my question, so there was a decision made that wasn't done by this board, but also didn't have the approval of the council at the time.
the MOU was approved by the council.
That was, but the
But again,
decision to throw those 5 or 6 individuals.
That was well after. you know.
Kevin, did you sign for all those individuals that are in your organization, or did each individual sign their own MOU?
They each
Each individual signed their own MOU, I
And
do.
then
I can make it easy.
I have
You
each
people do
individual
the
and
legwork,
the
because
final.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm tired. Okay? I'm tired. My suggestion is, and I know my group's gonna be pissed off at me,
Uh-oh.
okay? But they do trust me to some extent. This is chaotic, what we're going through. The easiest way to do this, okay, is to notify those 5 individuals. One's deceased.
Yeah,
I
one's
think there's 4 now.
So, then we're missing one. So one has their separate agreement that I know
Correct.
of.
I
Are you
have
counting
his.
him?
No, it can't count him.
And we're missing
So-
one, then there would only be 3. No? Look at the names again, from my memory.
Krista, does the
Yeah, 3.
does the MOU state
Oh,
that it's all disabled retirees, or does it specifically name the organization, names the organization?
right, he stayed
No, it's
with
not
them.
there.
He
Yeah.
made his own
Kevin's
deal.
I
I
on
wrote,
don't know.
and that's funny, I wrote him.
Yeah, and
So
I
there'd
don't know
only
what his-
really be 3.
That's what I'm
Right,
wondering.
I don't know what his deal is.
No, neither do I.
My suggestion, and if the council, and I'm not a lawyer, and I don't claim to be a lawyer, the easy thing to resolve this is to notify those guys and say, look, you were inadvertently put under an MOU, okay? The town is willing, if they're willing, I don't know. I haven't talked to Mr. Goslin or Mr. Williamson or anybody. Town is willing to let you guys go to court and be part of that MOU, with the stipulation that you pay your back dues that these guys have to pay to get that MOU. And, because you are entitled, you won't be getting your 2%, but you will be getting your 2% once you become part of this MOU. So if you go to Superior Court, I don't even think you know what I mean, to become part of the MOU.
I don't know. I don't know how you guys did it back then.
I mean,
I don't know if you could just sign.
Kevin's organization, just so you, sorry, Kevin, just give me 1 second. Just David just asked a question. I didn't want to talk over
Sure.
you. He had just asked if it was your organization that had filed the lawsuit that had the MOU, and I just wanted to make sure we understood that it's not an organized organization, so it's each individual is named as an individual plaintiff. So that we just wanted to
yeah,
explain
so
that.
they would have to go to court individually and sign.
That's
this-
what I'm
this
wondering,
MOU.
is if
Right, so it's not like
I'm just wondering if the
Global
council had
1104,
something
things like
before them that said all disabled retirees are getting this benefit, and the
No.
council said, yes, approve, or if it was every single one.
I brought every single one of my guys into Superior Court in front of Judge Rubin.
That was, yes.
Rubin, and they signed it in front of him.
Okay,
Town's lawyer was there,
Yep.
Mr. Williamson says, you agree to this MOU, they all said, they said yes, all my guys said yes, and we walked out of there. without a MOU.
They each signed the consent
Yeah.
judgment
Individually, yeah.
individually.
You,
Correct.
you agree with the names that Tracy just showed you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right.
Talking
I-
about the shop.
Both of you gentlemen, I want to thank you for starting to clear up some of the water.
I just think it's been muddied for so long, and I think there's a way out of this.
Yep.
I'm happy to work with anybody, and,
It's
but I think
a
it's on
fair
my
way.
hands on it.
Yeah,
If
no,
you guys,
as long as you agree with the names that she gave you,
but I don't think it's fair to give them a 2% COLA.
Mhm.
Well, my guys pays me a yearly fee
Mm.
that I have to
I
assess
can
them every
almost
year, they have to
guarantee
pay. And because you know what happens if they don't pay it? You guys know what happens when they don't pay it. You're out of the association, right?
Right.
I don't give you any phone calls, I don't advise you of anything that's going on.
You're probably definitely.
And that's the way it is with this organization.
but the same
So,
could go for a
wait,
member who's non-union in the fire department, let's say, doesn't want to join the union, he's gonna get all the benefits of a contract that he's not paying dues for.
Yeah, that's a
So
di-
then there's nothing we can do about that.
Yeah, but there's a
You know what I mean?
difference between,
Exactly.
there's
So it's,
a
I
difference between a
understand
union and
it.
his
It's
organization.
a free rider issue where these guys are just getting the benefit without having
I
to
think it would have
contribute.
been more prudent if Fred Presley did the due diligence and said, look.
If you're not gonna,
They didn't sign it, we got 4 individuals or
Right.
5 individuals when it was passed, you're gonna get the 2020.
right, when
And then you would
unfortunately,
have forced their hand, because nobody wants 2020
Exactly.
reduction.
well, I think we have a little leg to stand on, and that was why I asked Mr. Goslin the question, is Mr. Presley didn't have the authority to do that, so I think we can find, basically, we found something that fell through the cracks, and we're gonna see if we can correct that mistake.
Yeah, I think he was trying to make a bad situation better.
right,
I don't give him too much credit in some things, but I think he was trying to make a bad situation better.
Right.
We didn't want anybody to get a 2020 cut, so we did these MOUs.
All right, as long as you agree with the name she has, we'll go from there.
Oh, so what are we gonna do if they're on there? That's not up to me.
let's see, like I said earlier.
I'm gonna have a conversation with Kevin after this meeting, I just wanna ask a couple of questions.
And it's not an agenda item.
Yeah.
No, I know, so I was gonna say, we can't talk about that.
You can talk about it, but you can't vote.
Right.
We can't, okay.
Have to wait till the next meeting, but we also don't have to take any action either on 1 July,
Right.
so.
But since we administer the plan,
I have to send it to the bank this week.
say that?
I have to send them to the bank though this week, whatever's on there.
Say that one more
The
time.
COLAs, I have to get them to the bank, so.
I know.
You know.
Um,
don't jeopardize their COLAs, for what I said.
Right.
They deserve their COLAs.
No, that's not the issue, the question, that's all set. Can, I think Kevin's solution is fair and equitable, but can we,
Not
As a
something we
board.
can
We can't
talk
enforce
about
that.
right
Yeah.
now.
you said we could discuss but
You
can't
can-
vote.
Correct, but you can't suggest that it's a good solution right now.
Okay. All right. Any other discussion on it then? That's
No.
Bill? All right. All right. Next is item O, public comment.
Good evening. As you know, I don't attend every one of these meetings because I like to keep the politics out of the pension board itself. But when my name's brought up here on an individual basis saying my opinion is, and as we all know, MERS has been a big conversation lately in town. And it was set up here by one individual that the council president is not supporting going into the MERS system. And I went back, after I was told about it, I went back and listened to the minutes. All right, and it was said. And I reconfirmed it again here tonight. I want to just let the public know and this board know that's the furthest from the truth. Misinforming the public and misinforming you as a group is not a good thing. It's just really not. The council has met with Seth Mag. 4 of us were at the meeting that Mr. O'Connell set up at the senior center. Okay, the town manager has met with Seth Magaziner on his own, and an individual council person has met with Seth Magaziner on their own to get information, and has brought it back to me and members of the council. We are listening. We want, our ears are open. Our minds aren't set, but I can tell you that we are listening and we want to hear what it can do for West Warwick and what it can do for this pension plan. Yes, 5, 6, 7 years ago, the pension plan was under 20% funded. It's a little over 20% funded now. Over the last 5 years, has it performed? Absolutely not. Not where the expectations have. Has the council made the arc? Minus a couple of clerical errors downstairs, which we corrected last week, I think we've put in more money in the last 5 years than what there's been put in over the last 20 years. So some people are out there misinforming the public, saying we, the council, are not funding the pension. Is the pension underfunded? Yes. Is the pension underfunded in every other single town around here? Absolutely. Look at Cranston, look at Warwick, look at Coventry, go around the board. It's, as a mayor leaves, you notice there's a big problem. $7 million short here, millions and hundreds of millions of dollars in pension liabilities. But if you look at the big picture, 19% to 24%, that's actually a 25% increase from where we were 5 years ago. It's not where we want to be. We want to be up in the 30s and 40s as fast as possible, but the council's doing its best. We just had a budget get voted down, and our number one priority is the ARC. And how are we going to fix this pension system? So yes, MERS has been talked about by this council. And again, for anybody to say that I'm against MERS, I'm wide open to anything that's going to improve this pension. If we can save hundreds of thousands of dollars in fees and whatever else, has NIHOT done their job? I'm not sure. I've sat here and with Councilwoman Williamson a few months back, and we both were shocked at the stuff we were hearing. You know, leaving stocks in place that are minus 80-something%, you know, and not move them around.
You say NIHOT or
Well, it was
Clearbrook?
what was it, between NIHOT and Clear?
Nyhart's the actuary.
Yeah, but they
They're
were both here that
representing
night.
Yeah, Nyhart just presents the.
And as far as, I know I heard the meeting that happened between yourself and the town manager, and he discovered some other stuff that NIHOT's not doing properly, And, you know, I think you need to look at Nyhart a little closer. That's up to you as a board, not us as a council.
Yeah.
We rebid that last year or the year before.
Yeah, but you might want to relook at it again, because more was discovered just recently, and Mr. Haru can probably share that information with you. Again, I just, when we're out there, and you are all public officials now, you're appointed, I'm elected. When you're out there misinforming the public, please, and you know, you're on social media saying the council's not funding the pension, and you're here saying that council president's not supporting MERS. People here actually come to me and say they're upset thinking I don't support MERS, because there are some people here that really support it. I said, I'm open to everything. I want to listen. And, you know, even the town manager came to the council and said we need to look at MERS within the next 2 years. When I sat with Seth Magaziner that night, and I heard we can possibly get in next year versus 2 years, I'm like, well, what are we waiting for? Why? Get out of the pension business. Just give the state the check. It's easier. Saves all you guys a lot of headache. You don't take offense, but there's only, I mean, you get paid pretty well up here. Nyhart gets paid pretty well up here. Clearwater gets paid pretty well. And I'm sorry, but the state actually has much better returns right now.
We realize the state takes more risk than we do.
It's a bigger pool,
Yeah,
Helene.
I know, but that's
It's-
why the returns are higher, because they take more
But
risk.
again, as I'm looking at it, and I'll tell you, Bill Leahy was sitting next to me and a couple other firefighters, and they were looking, they said, well, MERS, you gained 5 years back off your retirement instead of 55, which is in their contract. MERS is 50. Every town employee will see somewhere between a 3 and 5% pay increase, because instead of contributing 13 and 14 and 11 and 12%, it's 9%. This is the stuff that we need to talk to the town employees about, because there's already people here in this town hall and wherever already have their mind made up. And I've said, well, look at the big picture and look at the solidarity of it. You got to look at the town of West Warwick. I'm going to say is going to struggle to make that pension payment within the next 10 years. When you're talking $17 million on the actuary report saying the ARC is going to be $17, $18 million, you know what? It's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough, especially when people are voting down the budget and not supporting the budget. Because if you look at our budget this year as a council, $1.4 million we're due to benefit increases, contracts that we haven't fully negotiated, but we put money aside knowing what we're thinking of doing in our contracts. So you got $950,000 in health care, $250,000 in the ARC. You know, we've had people in the past say, oh, we need $4 million next year for the ARC. No, it's $250,000 more for the ARC, but that's in the budget. We're trying to maintain that. And we have individuals who are saying, don't vote for this budget because we are not funding the pension properly. You know, that's not the way to sell this in this town. You're here as an appointed official, and you know what this pension board, if we had to, as a council, cut that fund by anything, you know what that's going to do. It's going to put us in court. It's going to do a lot to us. It's going to cost us more than $250,000. And again, you know, and shame on people here in the town hall, town manager, the town council. You know, everybody kept saying we're getting a 4% tax increase. It's a 1.7% tax increase, not 4%. But again, my only concern is we are looking at all options for this pension, and whatever it may be, but we want to make sure it's continued being funded. We have a council that continues to want to fund that pension. We're having a budget hearing tomorrow night. I can almost guarantee that pension will not be touched. The pension ARC will not be touched. And so I want to make it clear that, again, this council and even previous councils are trying to make sure we make that ARC. Some of you weren't here 10 years ago when we were putting $1.5 million in and paying out $7 million a year. You know, so right now it's about even. If we didn't do that and we didn't go into this 5 years ago, there wouldn't be no pension today. And I think everybody here can understand that and they realize it. And, you know, some of these members here have actually come to us to thank you for contributing into what you're paying in. But, you know, I just want to make sure members of this board are sharing proper information or sharing the right information. And again, if MERS is the way to go, I will support it 100%. Thank you.
You're saying, sir? Comments came from this board?
Yes.
Regards to that?
Yes.
Okay. Any other public comment?
Name is Steve Medeiros. I also want to address some of the things that Mr. Goslin talked about misinformation that's been out there about the pension system. I'm only going to speak about things that I personally have statistics on, which I'll hand out to you. Those statistics come from Mr. Magazzina's office and also from the town of West Warwick. I've also attended 2 meetings with Mr. Magazzina and actually have asked him questions personally. So I'm not going to talk about things that may or may not be. This is all strictly coming from, Mr. Magazzina's office or the town of West Warwick. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to hand you out the packets.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
First thing I want to talk about is some information, background information that he gave us. Presently, there's 118 municipalities in the MERS system, which is the state pension plan for anyone who doesn't know. The system has a plan with the average municipality in the system is 79.4% funded. Okay, and again, you'll see all the information on the chart there from the state of Rhode Island. And it says the town of West Warwick, as of the date of this would be April 2019, the town of West Warwick at that time was 23.3% funded. There have been statements made regarding the poor returns of the town pension plan, and people have made statements of, well, that's what everybody's returning. When we do bad, I heard it from a board member say, well, that's what everybody's returning, and it's actually not true. If you look at your numbers there, the one-year return for the state of Rhode Island is 7.9%. The West Warwick pension plan, as of that date, was 6.91% funded. 5-year return for the state was 7.2% funded, and the West Warwick pension plan was 5.58% funded. I say funded, I mean returns. That's what I'm talking about, returns. And over a 10-year period, the MERS system has had a 5.7% return, and the town of West Warwick has had a 4.72% return. Now, if you notice the 10-year plan, you can see the numbers are actually a little closer. So what happened with the 1-year and 5-year? How did they outperform us so much? So, ma'am, I'm sorry, I don't know your first name.
Helene Tay.
Helene, all right. So this young lady here had said that, the state was doing better because they were in more aggressive plans. This is true, but not totally true. So Mr. Magazzina explained to us that going back years ago when the previous administration was in, aka Gina Raimondo, she had been taking more aggressive approaches towards investing. So she was into a lot of hedge funds, and we all know what happened with that. Since Mr. Magazzina has taken over, he gave a big presentation about they're going back to what they call back to basics approach. They're getting out of hedge funds, they're getting more into stabilized funds, things more for the long term. There was one fund that everyone read about, I'm assuming in the Wall Street Journal, where it wasn't doing too well. This was a fund that Mrs. Raimondo had them in and had signed a contract with them, and as of the time of this meeting, there was only 1 or 2 years, he wasn't sure on the exact number, left on that contract, because they had, the way she signed the contract was, at the end of the contract, they had the chance to re-up it, which of course they did, because they want the state of Rhode Island's money, and then I believe he said it provided for a second time for them to re-up the contract, which they decided to do, and we're talking about the hedge fund company. So that's where that stands as far as the returns. Obviously, they are doing much better than we are. okay? If you notice, the MEAS system, again, has done, I just explained, particularly well over the last 5 years because of what I just explained. So the other thing that would probably save us a lot of money is the cost of running our own pension plan. And these numbers come from the pension board themselves. So in 2016, we spent $184,069.34. In 2017, we spent $98,739. 2018, which I don't know what happened that year, we spent $194,622.96. Up until March of 2019, because those are the only statistics I had, of this year, we had already spent $54,286.88. So since 2016, the cost to run this pension system has cost every pension person here $531,698.58, more than $500,000 since 2016 to run this pension system. Okay? Now, in contrary, what does it cost to be in the MEAS system? So according to Mr. Magazzini's office, the average cost to be in the state pension system is 0.10% per fund. Okay? So what would that have done to us? So our cost, going by his numbers, if we're using the same numbers that we spent, it would have cost us $53,169.58 to be in the state pension system since 2016. Okay? That would have given us a savings of $478,000 and $529. So almost $500,000 we would have saved since 2016. That's not on top of the better investment returns. Yeah?
I got a question
Sure.
about that. When he says it's 0.1, is he including all of the costs to, that we pay right now to for disability, doctors, and for the cost to actually calculate how much somebody's going to get as retirement benefit, or is that just what they're paying their financial advisors?
Okay, so this is what I'll say to that. He said it encompasses all fees. Now, do I know specifically, does it? I don't have that answer. But I also can tell you this, on top of that, I didn't count those numbers into our fees. So if we're going that way, if we're still only paying 0.10%, then we would still be lower. Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say? Okay, so it's, if we're comparing orange to oranges, the savings would have actually been greater. Okay? All right. So the other thing I want to talk about is I've also heard that, we need to be 60% funded. That was another thing that came up. That is kind of misleading. And while I'll say that is, he talked about at the meeting that right now, the bill does say anyone to come into the MEAS system cannot be in the critical situation. But he also did say that he would be willing to work with the town of West Warwick and work with us and try to get legislation passed so that we wouldn't have to fall into that 60% funding.
Right.
Okay.
He also said he's been trying to do that for several years with other counts, with other.
Yeah, well, they've done it. They've been trying to do it with Central Falls. I guess my point is he's basically left it up to negotiations. And you were there. He did say, these are ideas that we're throwing out. We need to get special legislation passed. Everybody knows that. But he said he would be behind us 100%. If this may not even be the way to go, but if that's what we decided, then he would be willing to work with us on a bill and work and see, what could or could not be done,
When he stated that, was that legislation to be just for West Warwick since we're in critical state, or is that for?
He didn't address other communities. Obviously, he's not going to address what's going on in other communities. It was strictly for us at the time.
It's got to go to legislation.
There would need to be legislation passed, yes. And it was correct that as of now, no critically funded pension could go into the MEAS system. But, I'm sorry.
Central Falls. Did they? They're in the process. They had legislation passed last year for that.
And we, as West Warwick, was waiting to see how Central Falls was going to turn out. And one thing that we have discussed was possibly getting, since legislation's over and the end of this pretty soon, once everything goes on, we're talking to have all our stuff ready for January 1 for new legislation. But again, that's just in the works just now, and we're still talking about it.
Yeah.
So depending on which way we want to go, because ultimately, I mean, we also want to see what the yearly bill's going to be on our end. You know, what's our check going to be to the state at this point? And Mr. Magazina has said, and he said it that night, that there's ways to help us. We'd have to pay the cost up front, but possibly refund or get us that cost back to us. He said a lot of things that night, and I think, and personally, you know, he's only there for, what, a couple more years? And, you know, do we want to, you know, I made it clear to the council, maybe the next treasurer don't want us in there. So you might want to start looking now instead of waiting for the next treasurer to come in and say, oh, no, we don't want you, you're nothing but a headache, you know. But
So-
I've also had Warwick, Mayor asked me specifically, does we want to come back to Warwick? Because they have their problems.
Yeah.
So, and I chuckled to him and I said, that's funny, because we've had that conversation with Mayor Avedisian 8 years ago, but he didn't want us, but now you're the new mayor and you want us.
Yeah.
So those are things that, you know, has been discussed over the past 6 months.
Do we have any idea what Central Falls' bill to get into that system
Well,
would be? Do we know?
Well, that's.
It's public
I
knowledge yet?
I don't really
No.
pay attention to Central Falls, but I will tell you this, he did point out that when there are Central Falls employees that were already in the MERS.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And when
they
Central
did better,
Falls
yeah.
went bankrupt, guess what? Those MERS employees weren't
Right.
affected, but the
Right.
employees, when it went bankrupt, were. And he made that very loud and clear that night. And, you know, I could tell you right now, the next 4 years, you don't know what's going to be up here. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to speak as a councilman and a taxpayer here. You don't know what's going to be sitting up there as a council. You could have a rogue council come in. You could have a group that says, the hell with the pension, we're not going to fund 10 million.
Yeah, I know.
Because I will tell you this, and I'll say this on the record, 2006 to 2012,
I remember.
I was misguided, okay? And I made mistakes in the pension. We went from 2 million to 1.5 million because we were going to pay for a lawsuit. And I was convinced, I had council members convince me and talk to me about that. Do I regret that? Absolutely. In 2012, I woke up, okay? 6 years later, I woke up on the council and said, we got to get this pension or else this town's going bankrupt or this town, and again, I'm talking as a councilman and a taxpayer here, that you don't know what's going to be up there in 2 years from now, in 2 Novembers from now. You honestly don't, and who knows who wants to do what, you know? And unfortunately, over the years, what's the easiest thing to cut? Most expensive line item, 30-something% of our line item is the pension. It's always been up there. If you guys look at our, and anybody who looks at our actual numbers from the last 10 years, the municipal budget, the municipal side of the budget has increased their payments to $10 million, almost $10 million a year. But the budget's only gone up $2.5 million. So if people say we didn't make cuts, are wrong. We made cuts to put it into the pension. And that's what I'm trying to stress, and it's hard to get that out there to the public, especially on social media days. You can't sit there and I don't expect any of you to monitor social media all day long. It's a full-time job. But if you're misinforming the public, that's going to hurt us. I mean, just take a look at our budget from 10 years ago. Look at it from 2006 to 2019. There is not much of a difference in the municipal budget. The biggest thing is the $8 million increase that we've paid into the pension, but it didn't, if you look at the overall budget, it's only gone up $2 million. That's pretty decent.
So just the last couple of things I want to address. So there was also concern about the amortization period for when it comes in. So right now, the way the pension system for the state, he explained, 20 years was the max that you could re-amortize, over the. He said that he'd be willing. And again, these are no promises. He didn't make promises. These are all just discussions. They may be willing to sit down and look at the town and maybe go over 25 years to help the town with the burden of the cost. He was anyone who was there, he was very, very receptive to try to work with the town. He said it does us no good as a state to see the town of West Warwick's pension fund go under, So And the last couple things I want to address, there was a question with some active employees about, we don't want to just go right into the mirrors and have to follow all their rules. And actually, if you look at the system as a current employee, I would want to go in anyway. As Mr. Goslin, I think it was Mr. Goslin said, you're going to get a raise right off the bat. And I also believe that we maxed out at 70%, and they may actually go up to 75%. So your pension would be longer. But he did say that he would be willing to sit down and talk about maybe we implement this over time. So, and I'm just throwing an example out. He didn't use this example, but let's just say anyone who's vested in the fire, well, you may be able to not take on all of the structure of the mayor system. You may be able to, still follow the rules of the, the town plan if they so choose to. But he did say that eventually everyone needs to switch over to the mayor system, because he can't go around and tell all these other communities, hey, I'm going to give a special deal for everyone in the town of West Warwick, because they're going to go, why does West Warwick get X, Y, Z, and everyone else in the mayors has to follow that. And the last thing that I heard was some concern from people who worked for the town and have now gone into state employment, and would they be able to keep both their pensions, And he reassured us that if you have a town of West Warwick pension, you will still collect a town of West Warwick pension, and any time of service you've put in through the state, you would collect your state pension, because that was some of the concern from that I heard from people who have already left. So that's all I have to say. I think that, I don't know if it's good for us, I don't know if it's bad for us, but I think we're doing ourselves a disservice if we don't at least sit down and get all the facts and see where this goes, or if it doesn't go anywhere. But I think we need to look at it. That's it.
Just
Yes.
to clarify, we would save money right off the bat, as you indicated, because we don't have because we would not have the expenses that we have now, which they're paid for the state employees. All those expenses are paid by the State Retirement Board. They have a staff that does the calculations for people's pensions. They process all those administrative costs are paid, not by the pension plan.
My understanding was, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. My understanding with that is we would still pay, so they have their own staff, obviously, of actuaries and all that, but we would still be responsible, and that's where that 0.10% comes in of the fees. So it's not a free ride where they'll do the plan for us, and they pay for actuaries and everything.
Instead of one pension plan having to pay for an actuary.
Exactly.
A financial advisor, a custodian to cut the checks,
Exactly.
legal. Instead of having one group, you're splitting it between, however, 34 plans.
100%, yeah.
We can't deny that there's savings.
Yeah.
No, that's,
It's undeniable.
their rates are way
And
low.
significant savings. We're talking
Way
just
low.
since 2016, $500,000 we've spent,
Right. Maybe Providence has a big enough plan where they may see, but we're such a small plan that us trying to have our own everything is just, obviously it's gonna be more expensive, there's no denying that. Getting back to the returns, they have so much more assets that they can get into higher, better asset classes with lower fees. They're gonna get better returns.
100%.
There's nothing we can do with that.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly. So if we stay where we are, we're not going to keep up. It's like, you're not going to play with the big boys,
No, I know, but there's pros and cons, as you've indicated. It needs to be discussed, and
Yeah.
I'm in the boat of, my mind is open too. Let's talk about
Yeah,
it.
I mean, it's not going to be easy, like you talked about. There's going to be hurdles. We have to, there's got to be special legislation made for the town and all that,
Right.
if that's the way we decide to go, that's all.
Right.
But I just think we should talk about it and
course.
see where the road takes us, that's all.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Krista, I have one question here. This was in the packet, you had Tracy put it in here, from Amy regarding the Quattros.
Oh, that was over. That was from last week. That's.
Nothing to worry about? Okay. Is that a mix-up too?
We ever gonna find out?
Yeah, no. I'm sorry?
Being a police and but naming the fire department, that actually sounded like something mixed up there or crossed over.
I'm sorry.
I think they made a mistake in the email.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
They put that they're a fire employee, but he's really a police.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
Okay, all
Okay.
right, all right. I
I'll
just want to make sure
I
that
think,
this,
yeah, I think that attorney just
I had the wrong thing. Okay,
worded it wrong.
okay.
No other public comment?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn.
Second motion to adjourn.
motion made and seconded, adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
That part.
And I'm gonna have one more.
Not able to pay a